Hello and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. This is part 2 on workhorses, this short version. Well, let's see how short I can keep it. Album of Horses is a classic study of horses by Marguerite Henry. It's illustrated by Wesley Dennis, and it has sections on all kinds of horses. In particular, it's got a section on the workhorses, the big horses, the 5 main kinds of big horses there are, including the Shire. Now, a neat book. She was famous, or they both in a way became famous for collaborating on story and illustrations for Misty of Chincoteague and the subsequent books that followed that, like Sea Star, Orphan of Chincoteague, and the nice map in the back shows where that was. I'd mentioned that here's a part of Virginia that sticks down there in Maryland, Delaware. The Assateague is a long island that shelters Chincoteague from the ocean buffeting, but the elevation I said was 21 inches. That's the average of the elevation, lower, some higher, that the famous ponies, where the famous ponies live. Wild, Wild World of Animals, that Time Life series. Domestic descendants include horses and many others, sheep and dogs, goats, chickens, cattle, cats, and there's something there by James Herriot about the cows, and along with the horses, there's donkeys and mules, and I like that. As you know, this series, I found there's lots of things I don't know that it points out to me. Horses. David Street, a photographer, wanted to capture what really is a close, an endangered way of life. It used to be everybody farmed with horses, but it became less and less. And he starts looking in the Maritimes, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, works his way across to Alberta, and features not only people who are still using horses to work, but people like a famous maker of harnesses and the various things needed for horses to be worked. So now, over in that part of the country, for a longer time than maybe some parts of the people were using horses. This is my grandfather's Cape Breton. Clive Doucet writes about visiting his grandfather and grandmother in the summer, and the experiences and adventures that they had, and it's a delightful account of that way of life. for adults. And the same as for Wingfield's World. It started with letters from Wingfield Farm, Wingfield's Progress, Wingfield's Folly, Wingfield Unbound, Wingfield on Ice, Wingfield's Inferno, and Wingfield's Lost and Found. 7 different plays, and I got to see 3 of them with my 2 oldest sons. They were a hoot. They were just amazing. And one of the things that made it amazing was the fella that plays the stockbroker who wanted to move back and be a farm, and Rod Beatty. He played the conversation. He would play both parts, or sometimes even 3 parts. He'd change his posture. He'd just bingo, and his position where he was, and his voice, and he was the other person, and he could keep track of that. It was just tour de force. Sleighs. Carlo Italiano was born 1920. They were still using sleighs in the wintertime in Montreal. In the old city, you'd see the various kinds of animals, sleighs, just lined up and being used. And he's done paintings of, I think, 24 different unique uses for the horse-drawn sleigh. Things I hadn't ever contemplated. So it was a new world to me, which is now probably an extinct world. But they did have cars in the late 20s and early 30s there, for sure. But most people chose not to use them, but to depend upon sleighs. So thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.